What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Virgin Galactic, ticker is SPCE. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company, and whether $1 is realistic or not. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently Virgin Galactic is flat. Market's been open just over an hour and 1.7 million shares have been traded. 9.7 is the average. So today is going to be a little bit low on the volume front. As far as news, there's only been one thing that did come out recently, and that was on October the 18th, where it did state that Galactic 5 research mission set to become Virgin Galactic's 6th flight in 6 months. So in reality, I think that's good. They're definitely keeping up with the constant trend. But overall, though, this isn't a catalyst. And I think beside the point, though, we'll find out ultimately during the next quarterly earnings, which they haven't actually announced yet, so just be aware of that. But we'll find out on how much revenue they actually did bring in, because I think that's one of the big question marks that a lot of people do have is how much, even for paying customers, how much are they truly paying? So based on the research mission, it is obviously fair to assume that there's going to be no revenue generated from this. So once again, clearly this isn't that good of a catalyst in my opinion, especially as well the broader market saw that the same way, because on that day it was announced, it went down 6.56%. I think Virgin Galactic is just struggling with good substantial catalysts, but I could be wrong. I'm not financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence. So when it comes down to analysts, they've always hated Virgin Galactic. I've said this since the get-go when it was at 6, a little bit higher. Analysts always hated them, and as of late they seem to have a little bit more of an additional vendetta. I did a video about a month ago and where I did say where the low might truly be, and I did say $1, even though at the time I think it was at $2.50. I did say around $1 was going to be essentially the low before things to kind of trend up, and I anticipated that most likely was going to occur Q1 of 2024. But technically, some analysts are starting to see the exact same thing. So for instance, 𝗪𝗧𝗡𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧, or whatever his last name is, from Trieste, did give a sell rating that was 3 days ago and a $1 price target. Similarly, Bank of America did give a sell rating, $1 price target, Ronald Epstein, and both do have a very good rating, especially compared to analysts. So Michael has a 59% success rating, Ronald does have a 55% success rating. So once again, not necessarily the best. Is it surprising? No, because based on what I kind of signaled and what they mentioned during the Q2 earnings, like there was and is no catalyst. Like it's basically only going to generate 1 million estimated revenue in both Q3 and Q4, which gives absolutely no reason for investors to buy it. And that does make the multiple just look extremely bad. So right now the PS ratio is 154.4x, which is mind-blowingly high compared to any stock out there, growth stock. And the only reason why Virgin has been kind of stabilizing around this price, not tanking significantly to kind of adjust a lot of these metrics, is a lot of people don't necessarily know what this sector is worth. What is the potential is going forward? Like there's a lot of those what ifs that people don't necessarily know. This is why the future is around 26.1x. So once again, you kind of have a lot of different moving parts with this sector in specific. But one thing I just wanted to show you when it comes down to the upcoming earnings, I have been monitoring the earnings per share revenue just to see if analysts have been doing anything different, and it looks like for the earnings per share, no real change. It looks like one new analyst did get on board, but didn't really change the consensus, so still negative 43 cents per share. And as far as revenue though, one bullish analyst did get out, because previously it was 9 analysts, now it is 8, and it went from 1.49 million to 1.07 million. So one analyst, which was extremely optimistic, because of course, just based on averages, like for it to go down almost about $400,000, like that one analyst must have had maybe like a 5 million estimate. Obviously it's completely crazy, but regardless, they did pull their estimate and that lowered it quite significantly. So not necessarily the best when it comes down to that. So what's your viewpoint on Virgin Galactic? And as I said, I do feel that the low might be coming this quarter, and then from 2024 onwards, this is where it should really go up pretty significantly. And you can actually tell that based on the analyst estimates. So even looking for this, so in Q1 of 2024 and then Q2 of 2024, currently 11.03 million for the estimated revenue, and then for Q1, 9.5. So bigger and better things are coming, but is $1 coming first? I personally would say yes. A lot of the data points that I'm going to be talking on all kind of signal that downtrends might be coming. So I'll touch on all that. Starting off with options. Currently $27,000 in calls being purchased versus $21,000 in puts. So even though we are very close to the all-time and 52-week low, it's still, a lot of people aren't optimistic. And for instance, looking at the specific calls though, at the open interest, it is anticipated for it to be above $2 by the end of next week. And for puts, it is anticipated to be sub $1.50. So you kind of have both extremes, but based on what the actual technicals are saying, with it at $1.63, it is between this S1 and the pivot. So $2.02 is a very strong resistance, and $1.59, which it kind of did bounce off of today a little bit. So we'll most likely test it again later today, but $1.59 is that line in the sand, that support level. If it does break below that, then $1.32, and if it breaks below that, then obviously this is where you get that $1 mark, so 89 cents. But of course at that $1 mark, it'd be more of that psychological support. But regardless, like I said, for the rest of the next 2 months for this quarter, unless they give some good news in the Q3 earnings, which once again they haven't announced, but like I said, there's no reason for Virgin Galactic to go up in the next 2 months until they actually start to bring in more revenue. Revenue drives absolutely everything. And unfortunately, that's the dagger that really slammed Virgin Galactic from their Q2 earnings, just their guidance and their estimates. So once again, not necessarily the best when it comes down to that. Number of retail investors, oddly enough, are getting in today. You can tell that based on the momentum indicator. Stochastic, a little bit more of a bearish sentiment right now, so red line above the black, but overall it is kind of neutral. And I'll give you a quick overview of what shorts are doing, because shorts have massively been ingrained in Virgin Galactic for a while now. So short score is 81, utilization is 88.41, and shorts currently are increasing 268,000 shares. 23.4% of the free float is being shorted. 78.16 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is 3.11. So even though shorts are very much ingrained in Virgin Galactic, I actually don't see it as a squeeze, because I don't have any surprises coming up. Because in order for a squeeze to occur, you need a lot of shares being shorted, a high utilization, a high cost to borrow, and then the fourth, which a lot of companies do struggle with, is a surprise catalyst. So that's something unfortunately Virgin is missing and lacking for a while now. So most likely there won't be any short squeeze in the foreseeable future. But interactive brokers, or through the interactive broker, short availability does indicate around 300,000 shares are available to be shorted. So they are kind of running out of ammunition a little bit. So let me know your thoughts on Virgin Galactic in the comments below. Do you think that $1 is going to be next? Do you think it's going to retrace down there? Or for instance, do you think it's going to bounce off of this $1.32 range? I actually do think that it might break below this $1.32 and touch that $1 within the next 2 months. But like I said, that might be the all-time low for Virgin Galactic, and from there it'll trend up, and 2024 and onward should be fairly good for Virgin Galactic, but that's just my own interpretation, of course. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, even though Virgin Galactic is extremely volatile, goes up, down, sideways, take advantage of this completely free shares. So sign up for an account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock can be valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.